Hi, my name is Nikki Baskin, and I'm here to share with you a bit about my final project as part of the Graduate Liberal Studies program here at Duke. The title of my project is Framing an Incomplete Portrait, Piecing Together My Family's Educational Journey from 22 Years a Slave to Me. I'll talk more about the project in a moment, but first I'll relive what felt like 22 years of trying to arrive at a topic for my project. I was an English major as an undergraduate, which provided me with a little bit of academic freedom. And then I completed a master's degree in education, which followed a really structured curriculum with very little room for exploration outside of the required courses. So the liberal studies program at Duke appealed to me for its sense of academic exploration, and I took full advantage of a variety of courses, from documentary studies to public policy, to religion, to biology. My courses spanned several academic areas. The beauty of this is the beauty of this. I was able to stretch my mind, but when it came time to think about my project, my ideas were as diverse as the courses that I had just completed. I had a phenomenal project advisor in Susan Thorne, who's a professor in the history department. And I located what would become my project subject by asking myself what mattered to me. And I remember sitting in Susan's office, fiddling with this ring that I often wear. It's my maternal grandmother's high school class ring from 1933. And it became clear to me that what mattered to me was to be able to pay tribute and give voice to those who came before me. So those who made my education as a Black woman even possible. So together, Susan and I talked and refined and talked, and I centered my project around my own family. So it became a tribute to those really close to me whose sacrifices and decisions made it even possible for me to have the opportunities that I appreciate today. So the project. So my project couples educational history, my family's own educational history, with historical perspective as far back as I could go. The 22 years a slave, as part of my title, refers to my own great-great-grandmother in an article that was written by one of my cousins. So I started there, tracing my maternal great-great-grandparents' life as slaves on a plantation close by in Virginia to their lives in Iowa, which then explores the impact of mobility of slaves, of education and literacy on the mobility of slaves. Then I continued to my grandfather's time as what's called an invisible Hawkeye. He was a Black student studying at the University of Iowa in the 1920s, and this chapter explores in a greater way the challenges encountered by Blacks seeking education during this time period. I traveled to Buffalo, New York to study my maternal grandmother's educational path as a Black student who quietly passed as white and then attended an HBCU in the 1930s. I continue to my mother's older brother, my uncle, who returned from the Peace Corps to enter graduate school at Princeton during the heat of the civil rights movement in the late 60s, early 70s. And that chapter explores, in a broader context, the exclusionary policies in higher education. My family loves books and often teaches lessons by sharing artwork, musical lyrics, or book recommendations. So to honor their love of the arts, I wove the poetry of Langston Hughes throughout my project. It was in my grandparents' house that I discovered Langston Hughes and loved his poetry. I also wanted my project to feel like you're leafing through one of those old sort of large photo albums that are stuffed with black and white photos and newspaper clippings. And so I included a lot of my family's own memorabilia in my project. And a few summers ago, I participated in the University of Iowa Summer Writing Festival. And while I was there, I was able to explore my grandfather's background, and I included some of that information there too. So I'm really pleased with how it all came together. My project taught me a lot about educational history and revealed a lot about my own family. It feels like a really good tribute, and I'm appreciative of the opportunity. So thank you.